Hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Crystal.
We're here with LTD Sailing School and Yacht Brokerage in beautiful Grenada. Today we're on a beautiful boat. We're out in St. George's Anchorage, just actually out in front of our house, right over there. Great spot.
This is a marine protected area, so it's on mooring balls.
Yeah, on mooring balls. There's a bunch of them here. And honestly, we used to anchor out here all the time before that all got put in, and the anchoring was horrible. So the mooring balls are a welcome addition.
Yeah, great improvement.
Today we're on a 2009 Fountaine Pajot Orana 44. It's an owner's version layout. Just a really well-maintained boat, really very well cared for.
Yeah, one of the things we started to talk about was the progression of boat parts, because we were just on Lipari, right?
Last week, Lipari if you prefer, but Lipari is how they pronounce it in Sicily. And that boat was a little bit newer.
So 2011.
2011. Yeah. This is the previous generation. So the Orana turned into the Helia 44. I'm not sure what preceded the Lipari. I can't remember right off. There was a few of them. Anyways. But yeah, this boat, it's the previous generation, but honestly, I mean, the age, this boat's, I mean, you wouldn't know the age by touring around this boat.
No, they take really good care of it.
Immaculate. Yeah. The floors, the upholstery, the woodwork all through the boat.
The floors are very telling when you walk into a boat, and a lot of the charter boats, the floors are so worn, and these floors are very well taken care of. They look like brand new.
You can always just check the floor right in front of in the galley.
Yeah.
That's where everybody's dropped pots and pans, and yeah, it usually shows, but this boat, it does not. It looks great.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Just walking around this boat, thinking through the boat as I walked through it. This boat has a great solar setup. There's 4 panels on a rack at the back, and there's 4 more panels, bigger panels, up on the cabin top. And those are feeding 805 amp hour, 6-volt Trojan batteries. So it's not lithium. Everybody's today lithium. But this is a really good top of the line brand and system for a lead acid setup battery. In a lot of ways, they have a lot of features that can be advantageous over the other things. Not to mention the cost point. Is great. So great features. What else are you thinking?
The Dingy Davits. They're lower than most Dingy Davits, I noticed.
Yeah, they're not lifting the dinghy up like crazy high. Yeah. Like I think about the Leopards, where they really lift it up almost to the cabin top level. And then they have a problem with them penduluming back and forth. So yeah, it's a lower davit system.
Messes up the view.
Yeah. There you go. And one of the things, I guess, as we're talking about that davit system, there's an electric winch right there. So no having to string lines across the cockpit or whatever, or break your back trying to lift up a decent sized tender. You got an electric winch right there, but push button control, you can raise and lower the dinghy, no problem.
Because I was looking at that and I was wondering how that affects performance.
Well, if it's hanging down too low, you might get some wave slap down there. So that's maybe one reason you might want to lift a little bit higher. But I think maybe it's going to be adequately high. Sailed these boats before. I've never had a problem with that. It's not a particularly low bridge deck boat, so yeah, it's a good setup. And you're just not lifting it up as high. It means you're not getting that you're not weight high bad, weight low good, right?
Yeah,
we think about
that's what I was thinking about too.
Yeah. So keeping that weight a little bit lower and in that place isn't a bad feature at all. Having the electric winch makes it easy.
So easy.
Also, just to mention the dinghy for a second, it's a nice ZAR. Aluminum double bottom, so you've got a nice clean space there. You run your fuel tank up in the forward locker, run the fuel line under the floor, and it just keeps things clean and neat. It makes it more usable. It's a CL10, so ZAR 10-foot aluminum double bottom floor, so you can run your fuel tank up forwards. Fuel line goes underneath the floor, so it keeps everything nice and neat and clean. So you got a 10-foot. And a decent sized engine. It's an 18 horsepower NS, so it's like a Nissan, Tohatsu's, Mercury's. They're all very similar, somewhat rebranded.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's a great engine. It's going to get up and go. A 10-foot with an 18 on the back is going to get up and go.
I love the double floor, and to be able to have those gas lines out of your way, and your feet stay straight and your feet and your luggage stays dry.
Yeah, and it's it's just so many dinghies. I get them in the fuel tank and the fuel line, and who knows what else is cluttering up the dinghy, and it just makes it a lot less usable. So I prefer it. I like the clean setup as well. Nice way to do it.
There's a gas barbecue on the back. It takes the green canisters,
Okay.
so it's not piped in.
Not piped
gas.
in, but could be. Usually on those type, you can run a different kind of regulator. If you prefer to have it go into a big tank rather than using the small green ones, you can set that up. It's a pretty easy conversion. But the green tanks are available everywhere. Very easy way to do it. Great spot. You guys are all missing. There's a beautiful Caracou sloop sailing right behind us right now. Sunset, little pre-sunset sail.
A little
there.
distraction.
Yeah, a little distracted. Wish I could swing that camera around real quick, capture that. But anyway, you guys are out of luck. So yeah, nice barbecue setup for cooking outside. What else do you like on the?
Well, they have the love seat there.
Yeah,
The lounging love seat.
One of my favorite features on these boats, and in my opinion, way better setup than what you find on the Helios, is that love seat at the back. It's a great little spot, just a good lounge, kind of. I know you like the fainting lounge, chaise lounge, whatever you want to call it, but it's a great setup.
It's for two.
Yeah, it's a good spot to hang out. Going forward, thinking about the Helm Station. What did you think about the Helm Station?
Well, I was talking to the owner, and she says that's one of her favorite spots because it catches all the breeze.
Yeah.
She's sitting up there, and she's 5'10", I think she said, and she just sits up there and just does her job.
See everything going. See everything going by. It's a big enough bench. You could fit a couple people there very comfortably. And you've got great visibility. All four corners of the boat are visible. You can you've got a little shade canopy. It's not a full bimini or an enclosure, but it's a nice shade canopy for when the sun's beating down on you. You want to get out of the shade a little bit, or get out of the sun a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good setup that way. Instrumentation, it's well set up. It's a little bit older stuff, a little bit older instruments. It's the old Furuno brand stuff, B&G, some B&G in there as well. You've got your chart plotter, you have the depth, the wind instrument, and then you have two autopilots. So the first one, the primary, is a Furuno autopilot that's ran on a hydraulic ram. And then the second one, the backup, is actually a Ray Marine, and it has a totally separate head unit, totally separate ram. It's completely different unit. If you've ever...
What would be the purpose of that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if you've ever been on a boat where the autopilot's gone out and you had to hand steer for days on end, you really appreciate that redundancy and that backup.
Okay.
Yeah, all these gadgets can go wrong, right?
Right.
They can all fail us at some point, as reliable as we always hope they are. But if that autopilot were to go out, if your primary went out, it's an easy just to flip the switch and you can be over onto your backup. And they're both great units.
We've had to hand steer, and that's miserable.
Yeah.
Especially with just
well,
two
it's
people.
fun for a while. It's a blast. I mean, that's why we all do it, right? We want to be sailors. We want to be hands-on and doing it. But if you're sailing long distance and you're going miles and miles, days and days, just hitting that autopilot button and kind of being able to monitor everything, the autopilot generally over the long haul steers better course than I do. I get tired, I get lazy. I might be really good if I'm focused like we're racing for a short period of time, but over time you get wore out. It's taxing, and so just being able to hit that autopilot is great. And then you just got to monitor and keep an eye on everything. So it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, all the lines are right there too.
Yeah, all a great setup for that. All our lines are ran back. There's another electric winch. We talked about the first electric winch at the Davits. We have a second electric winch there at the Helm Station, and that's the electric winch. That's the winch where the main halyard is ran to. So we've got the main halyard there. It's ran to that winch. Easy enough. Just push button to raise the main. Really a nice way to do it. The other thing, though, is we've got all those other lines. We have two more winches up there. They're both manual winches. However, with a clever layout, deck layout, we can actually cross-sheet any of those winches over to the electric winch. If you really for whatever reason, you need to grind that in, you don't have a winch handle, or you just don't feel like grinding, you can cross-sheet and utilize that winch that way as well.
Yeah. Electric winches can be problematic too if you use them in the wrong way.
You got to be careful with them. Yeah, you're not grinding, you're not feeling that load, but so it definitely takes an extra measure of care when you're using them, but it also makes it easier. So it takes some of the work out of sailing on the boat. Going forward, we've got a nice trampoline set up front. Rigging, everything looks good like that. All the running rigging looks great. A lot of Dyneema, soft touch. It looks like kind of the Maffioli style, kind of high tech rigging on for the running rig.
What'd you call it?
Just the brand name is Maffioli.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's a high modulus fiber like
Okay.
Dyneema, and it's just a brand name, manufacturer's name actually. So that's a good line though. It's a really good, high quality line that you don't find on a lot of cruising cats, to be honest. Yeah, so it's a nice setup.
The owners spend 6 months on this boat in the Caribbean, and they spend 6 months in Alaska running their business in Alaska. They have an airboat up there that they run, go up and see bears and such at Homer, Alaska. So that's kind of cool. It's a great way to do it, I think.
Great way to split your time. Alaska's beautiful, but it gets cold in the winter, and it's a long, cold, dark winter. So yeah, nice to be able to come down to sunshine. Going back to the talk about the rigging on this boat, a couple of the really nice features we've got is there was a new mainsail just last year. So mainsail was new in 2024. And the Genoa was new when he bought the boat in 2021. He replaced that. One of the first big things he did was replace the Genoa. So both the sails are fairly new and fresh and in good condition.
But you think about that. If you have to buy a new mainsail, what's that going to cost you?
It depends on what you get, but yeah, 10, 15,000, pretty easy.
It's a huge cost.
It's a big cost. I mean, when I look at boats, kind of evaluating the value of the boat, we'll just take for assumption that the boat's afloat and we don't see any smoke, right? So we know it's a viable hull. The next things I want to look at is the condition of the sails, the condition of the standing rigging, and the condition of the engines. Those are going to be your big expenses if you go to refit a boat. So we know that the sails are in good shape, and then I mentioned the engines. The engines are in very good shape. Fairly low hours for a boat of this age. They're at 3,200 hours.
What is
roughly?
What is the life of the engine?
Well, a well cared for diesel engine can run 10,000 hours or more.
Wow.
What we start to think about is the ancillaries, the water pump, the fuel injection, stuff like that can start to become problematic. And depending on how well the boat's cared for, if I had a charter boat that had been ridden hard and put away wet, I would think somewhere around 5,000 hours we might be getting close to the end. But a boat that's been well cared for like this one, we've known 3 of the owners of this boat, right? There was a German guy like 12, 15 years ago that we met, who was the first owner that we met of the boat. I don't know if he was the original, but and he had just kept the boat immaculate. We met him over in Secret Harbor where our office was at the time, and I remember coming on board and he was showing me like the bilges, and you could eat off the bilges. It was really crazy, just very well cared for. And then the next gentleman who bought the boat from him, it was a fairly short period of time he had the boat, like a year. I can't remember. It wasn't very long. And the majority of the time that boat spent was hauled out. Didn't sail it a lot, but he did spend a bunch of money on it. He did some refitting, did some maintenance, stuff like that needed to be done. And then the current owner bought the boat back in 2021. So
they've had it for about 4 years.
So yeah, they've had about 4 years, and they've taken, they've done the boat. The original owner we met, and they've done him proud. I mean, it's the boat looks great, really nice condition. What else do we have? Coming back around, really comfortable cockpit area outside. Nice outdoor cushions out there. Great kind of lounge area, socialization. That's probably where I'm gonna want to eat my, if I'm eating dinner or something, I'm probably gonna be right out there. Just a great spot to be.
As with the other Fountaine Pajot that we looked at, the round edges on all of the cabinets and the tables and the outside area.
As your outside area, but also as you come into the salon. Into the saloon, I prefer to say. Then you got rounded edges. You're not going to bang into sharp corners and ding yourself out and get a bunch of boat bites. So that's really nice. The upholstery in here on the settees look great.
Another telling feature is when people buy covers for their hatches and for their barbecues, it kind of gives you that confidence that they really care about keeping their boat in great shape. Yeah, taking good care of it and keeping it up. And that actually reminds me, we've got shade covers for the back and stuff like that. Yeah, umbrella shade covers,
But the other one that's I like on this boat is it has a big foredeck cover that covers that forward area. And so it means you can leave the ports open, you can leave the hatches open, get all that ventilation. Even if it's in the rainy season, season, you get the little sprinkles going all night off and on, or little squalls coming
You don't
through.
have to jump up and
You don't have to jump up and close everything. You keep that ventilation going. So, yeah, this boat doesn't have air conditioning proper. Proper's not the right word, but it doesn't have a built-in air conditioning
it's
units.
portable.
So you're really reliant on that passive ventilation, being able to open up the hatches. Really good quality fans on board. We have my favorites, the little Caframo Scirocco 2s that are. They do a great job of moving air. They're quiet. They're safe. They're a really nice product. Now, I say there's no air conditioning, but there is air conditioning. The owners have a portable air conditioner dehumidifier that runs off of a portable generator.
Yeah.
So they've got the portable generator. If it's really hot, August here in the Caribbean, when it's just stuffy and the trade winds quit blowing, or if you're in a marina and you just don't have that much breeze moving around you, it's really a nice option to be able to turn that on and just kind of have a little sanctuary there.
Yeah.
It's enough to cool down the owner's side.
Another thing that does when they don't have a generator or AC, it leaves a bunch of storage space. Like all the storage underneath the settee here.
It would
it's
all be
open
taken up
space.
by air conditioner
Yeah.
compressors and condensers and everything. Yeah. So that you're right. Absolutely. It definitely is. It provides for more storage space, and just a lot of ways. It's less systems to go wrong, and it's less, just less
Simple. Yeah.
simpler. Yeah. So nice way to do it. Very comfortable boat. We've got the shade screens on all the big windows. Those keep it cooler. They keep the glare down. It makes it really nice. The galley is a nice setup with the galley. We've got a 3-burner propane stove and a propane oven.
One of the owners, she bakes her sourdough bread every
Okay.
3 days, and she said that the galley is perfect. It's great for socializing. She can be prepping her meals and still talk to her guests that are in the kitchen or outside.
Yeah. No, it's
She
a
loves
great,
it.
great
Yeah.
setup.
There's an extra cabinet here that the first owners built to maximize that storage space.
Yeah. Think about the sink. It's a nice single basin sink, but it has a nice draining platform, so it drains off into the sink. Really good thought out space there. Nice counter space.
Efficient.
Cold storage. We've got a top loading fridge with a small freezer in it, which is the original one it came with. And then they've along the way, someone had added a front loading. It can either be a fridge or freezer. It's dedicated one or the other. It will do both, but it won't do both at the same time. But great setup there. So if you need the additional fridge space or freezer space, the current owners are very avid fishermen, and they're out. They're always dragging a line when they're out, and that's catch a fish. They can fill up that freezer and be eating off that for a while.
But that fridge, that drop-down fridge is huge. You look in there
top
and
loading.
the top loading one,
Yeah.
And she said that usually when they have guests, they'll change that into a fridge, and then when they're out fishing, they load it up with fish and they change it to a freezer.
Yeah.
It's the kind with the little pop-up.
Has the little doors that pop
Yeah.
up, so if it's being run as a freezer, you don't lose all your cold air at once. You can open up the section you want. You're going to lose some cold air out of that, but you have the advantage, although it's a front-loading fridge, of compartmentalizing the cold
Exactly.
storage area. Yeah, really nice. Just looking at my notes, we got a few things I left out. Let's talk about another great feature on this boat is the water maker. So it's got a Schenker water maker. It's 60 liters per hour. That's for our non-metric friends. That's about 15 gallons an hour. It's been rebuilt basically completely. The owner has changed out the filters. He's changed out the membrane. He's changed out all the hoses. He's changed out the pumps. He's over the time, the last 4 years he's owned it, he's gone through it. It's, I think, basically a new water maker is there, and it's working great. So, really nice feature not to have to go to shore for water all the time.
Yeah, and oftentimes there's the drought conditions on the island. Sometimes, fresh water isn't available, so having a water maker is amazing. They also have a washing machine on board.
Yeah.
Which I would say, and a lot of people would agree with me, that's mandatory. If you spend a week hand washing your clothes in a bucket, the washing machine is mandatory. And this is, it's just a washing machine, but she said it spins enough where it's almost dry.
Yeah.
When
And
it's,
then so it's got the extraction cycle. But and down here, usually you're probably going to be able to just hang your clothes out in the sunshine, let them air dry.
Oh, quickly, yeah.
But I noticed there's a little portable or retractable clothesline
Yeah.
down in the workshop area.
Yeah.
So kind of a nice feature. If it's rainy and nasty out, you just got to get those clothes dry. Just turn the fan on and hang them up right there. Not bad. We've got a nice anchor windlass up front. So it's 1,000-watt low Franz Cayman watermaker anchor windlass, and looks like it's in great shape. New chain, 250 feet of 10 mil chain up there, galvanized. The primary anchor is a Rockna 33, so 33 kilo Rockna. It's one of the modern, plow style anchors that just work really well. Their big strength is how fast they reset. So it's nice how fast they can reset. It also has an aluminum fortress, which is a great backup anchor. They're aluminum alloy, kind of a Danforth style anchor, and they're just easy to work with. If you had to take an anchor out in a dinghy and set it as a kedge or something, that's the one you'd want to have.
They
for
have
sure.
a stern anchor out now.
Yeah, they were working, replacing a prop, actually, rebuilding the prop, and had to go back underwater and replace it. So just to make that easier, the owner set a stern anchor to keep the boat from swinging so much, so it wasn't hanging on for the ride as the boat swings back and forth around on the mooring.
One of the things that I like about this too is the engine access. You don't have to go underneath somebody's bed to get engine access, and
Right.
we'll have pictures of that later. But there's disadvantages of that underway. If you have to have access to the engine room, you could have seawater come in.
Everything's a give and take on boats. There's, everything's a compromise. But I would tell you that being able to access those engines, do my engine checks quickly, is going to make me do them more. If I've got to tear apart a bunk to get to an engine to do the engine checks, I'm way less likely to do it. So I appreciate it. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. I think the engine placement is great.
You think there's more room to move around in where the engines are?
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some room down there. You can get down there if you had to go down and change an impeller or a filter or something. You'd want to let the engine cool off if you had the choice, but it's not too bad. They've got decent space down there.
I always feel claustrophobic when I have to go underneath the bed to check an engine.
Yeah, it's just kind of more enclosed.
Yeah.
You've also got back there, we've got the on the back underneath the settee in the cockpit area, we've got all the battery storage there and the MPPT controllers, the solar controllers for the solar panels. And then down those engine spaces, we've got you'll see the autopilot rams to drive the steering when you're using autopilot. It also has the chargers. There's a charger down on each side.
Okay.
Charger inverter.
So this is the owner's version, the Maestro version.
Yeah, Maestro version, and so that means it's 3 cabins. But on the owner's side on this one, you've got the one large head, you've got the big cabin aft, the big bunk aft, semi-island style I'd call it, and plenty of storage space in there, hanging locker space, shelf space, whatever you need for that. And then forward, where there would maybe normally be a forward cabin, you've got a workshop space. So great setup there. You've got room for your tools, room for spares, room for supplies, whatever you might need. Lots of storage up there.
That was a big selling point for the owners when they bought this boat. When he saw that and all the extra spares, he was confident that that was the type of boat that he wanted. I think he gave full price offer. The first person that saw this boat.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful boat, and he knew when he saw it was the right one for him. So yeah, the owner also, he flies airplanes up in Alaska. He has boats up there and stuff like that, automobiles. So he's not afraid to get his hands dirty and do his own maintenance. Mechanically inclined, and if you're gonna work on the boat yourself, it's great to have that storage space and that workshop space up there. Really nice feature.
This boat just gives me the general feeling of an open, airy space. The headroom is really good. The 2 cabins on this side, they have their own bathrooms, their own heads.
And also like light woods used throughout. I mean, the upholstery here in the saloon on the settee is dark leather, but everywhere, all the wood surfaces are light colored, and it just makes the boat feel more open and airy. The boat was hauled out over last hurricane season. She was hauled out at Clark's Court here in Grenada, and so safely hauled out during hurricane season, which is a nice kind of reassuring to know where the boat was at and that there was no damage over the hurricane storm season. But also while it was there, they had some cosmetic work done. Took care of all the kind of the dock scratches on the top sides, cleaned up where the anchor might have come up a little too fast and caused some dings, and then while they were at it, actually reinforced, thickened the fiberglass, did some extra layers of fiberglass around where that anchor roller is to strengthen that area, and then added a stainless steel plate around that for a little protection to prevent kind of anchor dings in the future.
Everybody should do that to have a little bit of protection for your anchor dings, you know?
Yeah.
It's just preventative maintenance, really.
Nice feature. So yeah, we got that cosmetic work done. We talked about that aft seating area. That's definitely one of my favorite features on the boat. Just really a nice, comfortable place to hang out. The workshop forward. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah, I think when I talk to the owners, the reason they're selling, they don't really want to sell necessarily, but they have other dreams. They want to do some road trips. They want to go to New Zealand. They want to spend a couple months in Europe and go traveling around in Europe. So that's kind of their dream. They spent 4 years on the water, and now they want to try something new.
Go do some new adventures. Yeah, no, that's great. Grenada, just talk about Grenada for a second. I mean, it's a great place to start your sailing career. We run a sailing school down here. We've been living here for...
They were students.
They actually were students of ours before they bought the boat. So yeah, we're a little partial to Grenada, but I would say it's a great spot. We're typically outside the hurricane zone, so we don't typically get big storms down here. There's great services. We've got 3 boat yards, lots of marine service providers. Some of the best sailing in the world, honestly. Just beautiful, nice wind all the time.
Lots of fun things to do, waterfalls and
just friendly people.
Friendly people.
Yeah, it's a really nice place to be based at. A lot of our friends that are cruisers, they'll base here. They'll spend hurricane season here, and then November they start sailing north, make their way up maybe up to the BVI, Virgin Islands area, and then start working their way back and come back down here. Hopefully they swing by Martinique and bring down some nice French wines and cheeses.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a great spot to be based from, and a really good place to start your sailing career. Beautiful islands and really nice, friendly people.
Come on down.
Come on down. Yeah. So I guess, do you have anything else, Crystal?
I'm good.
You're good. So if you have any questions about this boat, you'd like to set up maybe a walkthrough video with me, we can set that up. Or if you have any questions, just let me know. If you're interested in any other boats, let me know about that also. I'd be happy to help you guys out however we can.
Give us a call.
Give us a call. Thanks for watching.
Thanks.